What's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another episode here at WILDMAN Lifts. I'm your host, WILDMAN. Now on today's episode, believe it or not, it was raining pretty hard. It's been raining pretty hard for the last couple of days. I didn't know if I was going to actually be able to come out here and do some lifting, and if I did, it was going to have to be something like more strongman-y, where I'm just using like objects that can be out in the rain. But fortunately, I had a break this morning, so I kind of thought, cool, I could do some deadlifts. But the ground was really wet, and I didn't want to get my equipment all wet. So I decided to use the wagon wheels for the deadlift. And then right when I put these bad boys on and then warmed up and was ready to go, the sun has come out. It's getting really hot. And now all the moisture is beginning to dry off the ground. So that was just my luck. But since it's already set up, I'm going to do it anyways, because I already have my mind set on doing the wagon wheel deadlift today. So let's pop into today's workout. See what we got going on. Now for today's strength giant set, like I said earlier, I'm going to be doing the wagon wheel deadlifts, which really those wagon wheels just give it about a 3-inch deficit off the ground. So it's a little bit easier to do than a deadlift. It's really just a great variation of the deadlift to do in conjunction with the deadlift. It's going to attack your upper back. And as I'm going up in weight today, I'm also going to be doing some mountain climbers. This is a good exercise for your core, but it also loosens your ankles a little bit if they're feeling a little tight, which is what was happening to me this day. And I'm also going to be doing some jump ropes, just to try to get some extra conditioning, timing, and kind of get my rotator cuffs involved with those shoulders. And that's going to be the strength giant set for the day. Now what really bothers me, and it could just be out of ignorance, or it could just be that people are scared to lift weight and that's why they say such things, but they'll say, hey, you shouldn't do the deadlift, or you shouldn't be doing heavy weight on compound movements because you're going to hurt yourself. Now the thing is, if you're weight training correctly and you're practicing proper form, breathing, bracing, and everything is in line, and you're going up with little weight and working up in rep sets, you'll be just fine. Because you see, if you're using correct technique, the biggest thing that could happen is that your spine is not going to feel supported. There's these little muscles called spine erectors that hold your spine together when you're moving and lifting weight. Now, if you practice proper technique, you'll never have to worry about that, because the technique will primarily work your muscles, like the big ones, and then it'll work all the little muscles that are holding those big muscles together. And that's what technique is for. If you use improper technique and you're overloading your spine and not protecting it, then yes, something could go wrong and you could get severely injured. You could get lower back pain, hip pain, abdominal pain, your joints could go out, or worst case scenario, you break your back. Just like Mike Tyson, it's spinal. Sometimes using proper technique means that you can't go heavy, because if you go super heavy and you're trying to lift the max amount of weight you can, then your form might break down and then you're going to miss the lift or get hurt very badly. And sometimes using correct technique can be foreign and a little bit uncomfortable, but trust me, if you practice with lightweight and rep sets and you start to work your way up and you test your 1 rep max with good technique and form, you'll never have to worry about major injuries happening. The only thing that could possibly happen is your spine might feel unsupported and you just won't be able to lift the weight. You won't get injured or break your spine. Your body will just say, we give up. Our spine doesn't feel protected enough. And then you know what you need to work on and you're not going to get hurt. Alrighty, so that wasn't too bad. I'm really grateful that this went. If I had done a normal deadlift and if I had known that the ground was going to be dry by the time I came out here, probably would have done like a 3 rep max and probably would have gone around the 455 area to see where I'm at. So 475 for 3 on the wagon wheels, because it is higher off the ground than a normal deadlift. Not a bad effort. I'll take that any day. And you could see how important technique was here. I had to make sure that all the big muscles were in line and all the little muscles were helping support those big muscles. And it's really coming down to technique. That way, if my spine doesn't feel supported, it just wouldn't go up. That's how I keep my spine safe, because if your spine feels like that the little muscles are not going to support it, it just bails on the big weight. That's how you keep yourself safe. But if you put your spine in a compromising position when you're lifting something like this or in any compound movement, then yeah, you're definitely going to break your spine or hurt your lower back. But technique is king. But sometimes it is important to train your form breaking down when you want to lift really weird, odd objects. So for the variation giant set, I'm going to show you what that looks like. Now for the variation giant set, I was going to show you an SSB wide hand squat. which is a great exercise to do in conjunction with not only the deadlift, but with stones as well. But unfortunately, I've kind of changed my squat stance and also the bar placement on my back. Forever, I've been doing a low bar back squat, and as a result, I haven't been able to get to depth. I would get to like parallel or just an inch above parallel. And I really didn't like that, and nor did I feel very comfortable. So now I've placed that bar a lot higher, and now I'm trying to get more reps in as much as I can. So since today, it was just a 3-rep max on the wagon wheels, I felt comfortable doing a 6-rep max after I was done with that and practicing good technique and form with the back squat that I'm doing. And like I said, sometimes you have to take a step back. My back squat used to be more than my deadlift before I really started concentrating on my deadlift. And now that I'm going back to the back squat, I'm like, I really want to get down to a proper depth and feel good and healthy about my squat. So I'm really going to be practicing that a whole lot more. And that's why I'm doing that today. And as I was going up in weight between these 3 rounds, I was continuing to do those mountain climbers, and I was still doing the jump ropes as well, just to keep it a nice, easy format. Well, like I said earlier, I wanted to use the SSB and use the hands out wide to demonstrate how to train when your form is breaking down. Because in strongman or in real life, if you're in a fight or you have to lift an object that's really weird, like a couch or a TV, or your friend because you're trying to get them out of a burning building, those moments in life are not going to be a perfect deadlift form or a back squat perfect form. So sometimes you have to train for those moments if you're going to be in those situations. Since I'm kind of starting over with the back squat, I'm actually moving over into more of a higher bar location on my back because I'm trying to work on depth. I'm changing my whole squat stance around. So because of that, I have to go lighter and I have to do it more frequently. So I wanted to practice with the barbell this time. But now I'm going to do the assistance giant set, and you're going to see just how handy it is to train when a object is weird and heavy and you have to just kind of figure it out on the fly. So let's pop into that right now and I'll show you how that works. Now for the assistance giant set, I was only doing 2 rounds, but I was picking up that 156-pound stone and I was carrying it to and from my bullpen back and forth, which is about 100 feet, 30 meters, give or take. That's kind of the measurement that I got out of it when I kind of eyeballed it and walked it with my feet. And then once I was immediately done with that, I immediately would move into the mountain climbers and just kept it in the same format as I did the strength and variation giant set, and alongside with the jump ropes as well. Because I really wanted to make sure it was a good workout and I was just trying to burn myself out at this point. And you can see that when I'm picking up that stone, it's not a perfect form. You're not going to be able to get into a comfortable deadlift or squat position when you're going to be on the move and moving quickly. So sometimes you kind of have to train to get out of those form movements and just kind of figure out what works best on the fly. And in this case, I've been practicing with stones forever, so I'm not a stranger to stones. I know how to lift stones pretty well. And it's kind of funny because it does carry over into a lot of different life moments, fighting, and if you have to carry your buddy out of a burning building. And for the accessory giant set, this was just mainly for fun. I've burned out my back, my biceps, my core, and my legs. So now I just kind of want to do some bodybuilding movements in order to capitalize on the muscles that I've exhausted. So I was doing that with some seated bicep curls because I find it's a lot harder to do when you're seated and trying to get those weights out in front of you. Kind of burns the biceps a little bit more. And then of course I was doing hitchhikers. Always do some kind of face pull variation, whether it's leg day, back day, push day, or overhead press day. These really help your shoulders and keep them in line more than any other movement I can think of. And I was also doing some deep static air squats. Just kind of practicing the same form I was using on the back squat, but now I'm just kind of getting down there on the bottom and just kind of like getting my hips loose and kind of chilling there, and then I would stand back up. And that was just to kind of make sure that I was finishing off the legs, but also practicing good technique for the end of this session. And that was the total workout for the day. Alrighty, so that's going to be the end of the total workout. And guess what? I'm starting to see a lot of dark clouds coming, which means it's going to rain soon. And that's my cue to bounce. Really appreciate everybody stopping by, and I will see you next time. Thank you.